Guys, this is Brian with Turf Mechanic. Today it's June 4th, and while I still have temperate spring weather, I'm going to be making some summer applications to my lawn, things that I'm putting down at the end of spring to get me through the heat and stresses that come with summer. Now, earlier this season, I don't know, maybe at the end of winter, first part of spring, I loaded up my Yard Mastery shopping cart with Yard Mastery's Summer Stress Blend with the plan of putting it down around this time of the year. I've been planning this for a long time, but I hesitated, and ultimately I decided to not pull the trigger. It's just not my style to put down all-in-one products. I like piecing things together exactly the way that my lawn needs it at a given time. Not only did I think that I could do better than applying the stress blend that Yard Mastery offers, but I also don't particularly care for putting down manufactured products in my lawn. I would much rather put down the most organic, the most naturally sourced products I possibly could, the most naturally sourced inputs that I possibly could on my lawn. Now, the Yard Mastery Stress Blend, we all call it Summer Stress Blend because that's really the best time to put it down. But the Stress Blend is a 7-0-20 with micronutrients and iron. That makes perfect sense to be putting down going into summer for cool season grasses. It also really makes a lot of sense to put down towards the end of summer for warm season grasses, but that's a whole nother point. Now, although the urea, which is the base nutrient for nitrogen in the stress blend, is polymer coated, which makes it a lot slower acting than some non-coated versions of urea. The potassium aspect of the stress blend is a mixture of SOP and MOP. MOP is the non-organic form of potash. SOP I would prefer to put down all by itself because that is OMRI listed. It is listed for organic use. Now, the stress blend also comes with a whole bunch of micronutrients. However, most of those micronutrients are in the oxide version, so they're not going to be available for the lawn for a considerable amount of time. Now, I don't really have a big problem with that because I do put other things on my lawn like azomite, which is also incredibly slowly becoming available to the lawn. It's a bunch of trace minerals. I put it down, it's a long play. The thing is, I wouldn't put azomite down in the month of June to give me stress relief in the month of July. It's too slow acting. If I want to get through the summer, well, I need something that's plant available, and I'm not getting that with the stress blend. Here's my cat. He's always here. Now, before I go into what I'm actually doing onto my lawn, I do want to point out the fact that the stress blend from Yard Mastery pretty much is an all-in-one product. However, it's pretty unique in that it's only for stress relief. It's a lot of potassium and a little bit of nitrogen. It's a great all-in-one product for a beginner who doesn't really want to sit there and do 3 or 4 applications and mix products together, spray the lawn. It's a really good starter product for someone getting into lawn care as a hobby. My neighbors around here, they ask me about products, and from time to time I do tell them things that are easy for people getting into it. After you've been doing this stuff for a few years, you really start welcoming the concept of putting 3 things down on the lawn in a single day. It's just fun, and the lawn responds better to it. For the average lawn owner, the stress blend is probably going to be okay, but let's go into what I'm doing. The Yard Mastery Stress Blend is a 7-0-20, which means it's heavy on potassium, light on nitrogen. Now, I do want that mixture, but I don't necessarily need like 3 times as much potassium as I'm putting down as nitrogen. So I'm going to be going for something that is still very good ratio-wise. I'm going to be putting down a 7-0-7. 100% the nitrogen going down is being paired with the same exact amount of potassium. This is an excellent ratio to push through the stresses of summer and maybe even late summer as we push into maybe some fungal threat seasons for certain areas of the country. The thing is that ratio, or that high level of potassium relative to the nitrogen without the phosphorus, isn't really that unique. You can get it from the stress blend, you can get it from the product that I'll be using, but you can also probably run into just about any big box store and find something with a high potassium level in relation to its nitrogen level. This cat is relentless. If you do end up just running into a local store, if you find something that's high in potassium, it's probably a pretty viable option for a fertilizer going into the summer. I tell you, this cat, come on, man. Again, for southern grasses in southern climates, you're most likely entering your higher growth phase. So getting that nitrogen level up is probably more appropriate for the southern grasses. But for those of us up north running cool season grasses, we want to keep it moderate. We really want to keep the input levels low and sustained. And that's why I'm choosing the 707 product. It's a moderate amount of nitrogen going down in relation to the potassium. I want that high potassium level, but I also want the minor nutrients. The minor nutrients, especially if they're plant available, are going to really help me prevent diseases and resist drought and heat stress that we're going to get at some point in the months of June, July, and August. I'd also really like to get some soil build. I always try to get soil building inputs into my lawn whenever I'm making applications. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be applying 2 granular products, both from the same company, Lawnbox. I'm going to be putting down Luxe and their soil building product, Soil Saver. I'm also going to be adding in a liquid micronutrient application from Simple Grow Solutions. It's their micro booster. This is basically going to give me N and K with a whole bunch of humic acid, some other soil building ingredients in the Soil Saver box, calcium, and then a good number of micronutrients in that liquid micro booster product. All of those micros are chelated. They're chelated. I don't know how to pronounce it. They're all readily available for the plant, as opposed to the micronutrients that are in the stress blend that we mentioned earlier in this video. In the Luxe product, the nitrogen is being sourced from soybean meal. The potassium is being sourced from OMRI listed potassium sulfate. And the product comes with a bit of sulfur and 5% humic acid. The Soil Saver product comes with a lot of extra humic acid and a good number of extra miscellaneous soil building ingredients. I get calcium in the Soil Saver product, and then all of the other minor nutrients, including iron, are going to be coming in from the Micro Booster product. Everything that I'm going to be putting down today is going to be plant available pretty much right away. The humic acid is going to take some time to incorporate into the soil, but that's not really going to push me through the summer. That's just, I'm getting it along with all of the stuff that I actually want. And then all of the azomite that I've applied to the lawn like over the past couple years or so is slowly incorporating in and becoming available year after year after year. It's the long play, like I said. Now, I also understand that not everybody likes applying liquid fertilizers or liquid applications to the lawn. Spraying is just a little bit more complicated than applying granular products to the lawn, even though you've got a little bit more versatility with the liquids. If I was going to go with a granular minor product as opposed to the Simple Grow Solutions liquid version, I'd probably go for the Simple Ag Essential Miners granular product. Sometimes it's available on Do My Own. As of spring 2022, it looks like it's out of stock. There's a couple random places that I found online that you can buy it, but that's one that I would go out of my way to buy if I truly wanted a granular version of a miners only. They have something like 7 different miners in there, and that particular product doesn't use sulfur like we see in most fertilizers. It uses elemental sulfur. So if you do have a basic or a neutral soil, it's going to acidify your soil and actually probably bring your soil pH in a better zone. Now, of course, if you already have, very acidic soil, then you wouldn't want to use that. But a lot of people would benefit from the elemental sulfur aspect of that particular product. Now, not everybody actually needs to put all these minor nutrients down, and admittedly, I probably apply minor nutrients to my lawn maybe a little bit more often than I should. In defense of myself, whenever I'm putting minor nutrients down onto the lawn, with the exception of like azomite or green sand, some of those rock dust kinds of products, I almost always tend to put down a very low dose. They're called minor nutrients for a reason. We don't need a whole lot of them. Now, a good comprehensive soil test from like a local extension office, agriculture extension office in your area can probably give you a lot of good insight on if you happen to be deficient or have an excess of micronutrients. And again, admittedly, I have fallen behind on doing my own soil tests. So that's something that I do want to do later on towards the end of the summer, because I'm applying stuff now to get through the summer, and I'm going to let everything sit and incorporate into the soil, really kind of fill out that soil profile, and then I'll do that soil test prior to the traditional fall fertilization push that many cool season lawn owners go through. If you do happen to have a soil test, a recent soil test, that will shed light on whether or not the minor nutrient application is particularly helpful or detrimental for you and your lawn. One of the most important things to keep in mind here is that the reason that we do all of this is for to push the health of my lawn. I don't want to push excessive growth. I want to push the health of the lawn. I want the healthiest lawn possible because I want to be able to get through summer with a nice green lush lawn that my kids can play on, and that I can just roll around in the shade of my trees in without putting excessive amounts or any chemicals to the lawn whatsoever, and without having to put any fungicides to the lawn whatsoever. I don't use fungicides in my lab, I haven't done it in years, and I'm attempting to go through this entire year with virtually no chemical inputs to my main lawn. If you're going to try to do that, you really need to have healthy grass at the end of spring going into summer. And honestly, you really need healthy grass all year long because there's always pressures at all parts of the year. The products that I am using and the ones that I'm not using but I've referenced, I'm going to go ahead and link to down in the description below, because admittedly, my plan is more complex and probably a little bit more expensive than just buying a just generic, we'll call it a fancy generic summer fertilizer. I'm referring to the Yard Mastery stress blend here. But regardless, even if you don't want to go through the extreme nature of putting down a variety of products on your lawn like I'm going to be doing, you could very easily just head off to the store and find something packaged together that's high in potassium that's pretty similar to the stress blend and to the goal of what I'm trying to achieve by piecing everything together. Now again, for me and for all of those people out there watching this who are really into this, I believe that the Soil Saver paired together with the Lawn Luxe is really going to provide an excellent dose of nutrition for the lawn to get through the summer. It's exactly what I want right now, especially when paired with those micronutrients. I would encourage just about anyone to go ahead and take a look at that. And that's mostly because of the Lawnbox line of products specifically very closely holds hands with my own values intending to my lawn. Everything that they make is OMRI listed. It's all organic. Almost everything is the naturally sourced products that I would choose on my own if I was putting all of the ingredients together myself. And for those reasons, and maybe for a few others, I've actually reached out to the Lawnbox team, which, by the way, I didn't really know this in the beginning, but they are somehow or other part of the Andersons Company family of brands. Somehow they fit into that mix. I do like the Andersons Company. This is, I guess, I'm going to call it their organic line. They're not really saying that. But that's how I view them. But anyway, I did tell them that I'm going to be using their products quite a bit. I've used them a bit last year. I'm going to be continuing to use them a lot this coming year. Maybe for the foreseeable future, I'll be using them. And they offered my viewers special deals. Let's call it special deals on their products for viewers of the Turf Mechanic channel. Now, I'm not going to tell you what those deals are here because who knows, the details of those deals may change. So I'm making a dedicated web page over on the Turf Mechanic website, which I'm linking to down below. We're going to outline kind of the offer that they're giving for you, the viewer of my channel. And then at some point in the future, if the details change, I can just update the page instead of remaking a whole video. If you're interested in experimenting with the Lawnbox type of product line, all of their products or some of their products, and you want to save a little cash while you try them out, make sure to take a look at the link to that webpage in the video description linked below. But in addition to fertilizing the lawn, there's a good number of other things I'm going to be doing to my lawn, especially in the month of June and July. These are things that have nothing to do with fertilizing, but if you want to keep a great looking lawn throughout the summer, they're pretty important. Last year, I made a full summer lawn care guide video that summarizes all of these important things. If you want to keep a great looking summer lawn without abusing chemicals and fungicides in your lawn, without wasting water, and feeling good about the management of a green lawn, possibly even in a drought condition, then make sure to watch the video, which I've got linked right up here. It's my deep summer lawn care guide. Alternatively, I also have like a written version of that guide, plus some other supplemental summer relevant guides, which I have published on the Turf Mechanic website. Those guides, or let's call it a compilation of those guides, will be also linked in the description. There's tons of stuff in the description. Go take a look.